Well, she sneaks around the world from Kiev to Carolina. She's a sticky-fingered filcher from Berlin down to Belize. She'll take you for a ride on a slow boat to China. Tell me, where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego?
Hey guys, I'm back. So yesterday we were talking about Asia and the Fertile Crescent. Oh, today I am at sea. Actually, right now I'm not. I'm in the teacher's lounge recording these for you because I love you guys and I miss you. At least right now I think I'm going to miss you. Probably I will be only thinking about how much fun I'm having on the cruise. But, I mean, you know, I'll probably laugh about things and be like, oh, my ninth graders would love this cruise. And so anyway, but I'm at sea, so all of Tuesday, I'm not going to be in Mexico yet. We're actually floating across the Caribbean, in towards Mexico. And so I think we're going to wake up tomorrow morning, so Wednesday morning, and, be in Mexico. So I'm sure, hopefully I'm not like puking my guts out. Like that would be terrible. I really, really hope I'm not getting sick, or my kids are getting sick, or my husband's getting sick, because that would just be terrible. But yeah, anyway, so back to geography. Yes, so we were talking about the Fertile Crescent, and you should know that it is called the cradle of civilization. The cradle of civilization. This area is where the Tower of Babel was built. It's where Abraham was called to follow God and leave his family. And it's where he was promised more descendants than the stars in the sky and the sand in the sea. So that's kind of where we're coming from in that area. Obviously, one of the first and biblically most important countries there is Israel. So we're going to talk about Israel. It's also known as Canaan, Palestine. You've probably heard of Palestinians. Palestine is spelled Palestine, Palestine. And it's also known as the Holy Land. Israel became a modern state in 1948. There was actually a great big war, but we don't have a ton of time to talk about that right now. But yeah, in 1948, they became a state. The population is 70% Jewish. 70% Jewish. The rest are mainly Arab people. Both groups did descend from Abraham. So if you remember, Abraham had Isaac, but before he had Isaac, he had Ishmael. And so the Arab people are actually descendants of Ishmael, which was Abraham's son. So he is one of the descendants, or they are descendants of Abraham too. Isaac, of course, was a descendant of Abraham, was his son, and his descendants became God's chosen people, the Israelites. But because of Abraham's impatience, sometimes we get impatient with things. Because of Abraham's impatience, there's always strife between God's people and the Arab people. When you look throughout history, there's always strife there. Okay, they both, let's see here. The Jewish religion is known as Judaism. Most Arabs are Muslims. If you've heard of the term Islam, that's the name of the religion, but they call themselves Muslims. So, yeah, I know some people would be like, is that the same thing as Islam? Yes, but you wouldn't say that you're an Islam. You say that you're a Muslim who practices Islam. Okay, just to clarify that. One of the most important cities in all of Israel is Jerusalem. And the reason that it's an important city is because it is considered a holy city to both the Jews and the Arabs. The Jews call it the city of David. And the Muslims hold it sacred because it's where Muhammad was said to have ascended. So they basically both stake their claim on Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, there is a mosque known as Dome of the Rock. And that famous mosque is located there as well. So they are really, really protective of their city. They claim it as their own, both sides. And let's see here. Did I tell you? I don't know if I told you that the capital of Israel. Write this off to the side in your notes. It's not one of the notes with the blanks for you, but off to the side, write down that the actual capital, or I should say, the capital that is most recognized by the world is Tel Aviv. It's 3 words: Telaviv, Tel Aviv. But the thing that you need to know is that recently, I don't know if you've been watching the news, but recently President Trump said he declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Well, that caused a lot of strife because for years Tel Aviv has been considered the capital. And since both groups fight over Jerusalem, to say that it's the capital is basically to take a stand, especially in the Middle East, and say that he was basically on the side of the Jews. There's more to it than that, but basically by saying that Jerusalem was the capital of Israel, it's actually going along with what the Bible says about Jerusalem, and that makes it obviously the Muslims don't believe that the Jews should have control of Jerusalem. And so when he kind of stood on that principle that Jerusalem was the capital, it caused a lot of strife, and it still is. But he said that he believed Jerusalem is the capital, and he's actually moving the United States Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which is a huge statement. So yeah, maybe someday I'll call my husband while we're in class and he can explain it a little bit more. He loves politics. He was a political science minor, and he actually explained it to me a lot better than I probably just explained to you guys. So sorry about that. Okay, moving on. The strife between the people groups in Israel is centered around the West Bank on the Jordan River. Maybe you've heard of strife. Maybe you've heard news stories about the West Bank. Yeah, so that's kind of where all the strife is really centered around. There is an important place in Israel known as the Wailing Wall. It's where millions of people go to pray. We had a Wailing Wall in college. I know you're like, what? You went to pray to a wall? No. We had this place where everybody would, all the teachers would post the grades. Now, they didn't give your name, which was good, because if you like failed or something, then you didn't want everybody to know you failed. Maybe you didn't want everybody to know you failed. But anyway, we had an ID number, and you'd go to that wall and find the ID number and see what your final grade was for the quarter. Kind of like you guys do with your report cards and your progress reports. And so at the end of each semester, everybody would huddle around the Wailing Wall, we called it, and look for their grades and either rejoice or weep, as it were, at that wall. So anyway, that's what the Wailing Wall reminds me of. Also in Israel, the Dead Sea Scrolls that you heard about yesterday are kept at a place called Shrine of the Book. Shrine of the Book. That's the name of the place, and there was a picture of it, I think, in that YouTube video you watched yesterday. The greatest export for Israel is cut diamonds. In fact, I can still remember when I was in college and my husband, he was my fiance at the time. No, he was just my boyfriend. He hadn't asked me yet to marry him. And I remember he used to look at diamond rings because he was trying to figure out which kind to get me, I guess, or something like that. And so he would look on these websites of Israeli diamonds, and they're actually very pretty. I don't know. We'll have to look up some Israeli diamonds or something when I get back. But yeah, he used to always look at Israeli diamonds. He ended up buying it in Memphis, so I don't think it's an Israeli diamond that I have. But yeah, cut diamonds are actually their greatest export, and those are not cheap. So it's a good way that they make money. Today, after these notes, you're actually going to watch a video about the kibbutz. And so when you're watching the video, go ahead and fill out the spot of information about the kibbutz, a couple of things. Just jot down a few different facts about the kibbutz. You can use the back of this page if you need more space. Moving on to Lebanon. Lebanon, I had some friends from Lebanon. Okay, not friends. Like, they were these guys who ran the gas station in my town when I was growing up. I don't know if they still run the gas station. I wonder what happened to them after I moved away. But anyway, they used to run the gas station there. And they were from Lebanon. And it was so funny because they knew my dad really well, and so they called him Cousin Louis. My dad's name is Louis, Louis. And anyway, he's not from Lebanon at all. My dad isn't. He's French, or his parents were French or whatever. Anyway, so, but they called him Cousin Louis, which was so funny because they just weren't cousins or anything, and I don't know why they called him Cousin Louis. But anyway, they always, whenever I would walk in, they were like, Cousin Louis's daughter! How's it going? How's Cousin Louis? And so anyway, yeah, they ran the gas station in my town. They knew me very well. And they were funny. They always told funny jokes, and yeah. So the majority of Lebanon's population is Arab and Muslim. In the Bible or in ancient times, this is where the Phoenicians lived. There's a small population of Catholics there, but for the most part, it's a very Arab Muslim nation. Lebanon was once known for growing the cedars of Lebanon. If you read about Solomon building his temple, he talked about the cedars of Lebanon, and that's where they came from. But right now, they're pretty much gone. I mean, between people taking them, cutting them down and using them for things, they just haven't grown back that fast, and so most of the cedars are actually gone. The capital of Lebanon is Tripoli. It's spelled Tripoli. That's the capital. There was a major civil war in Lebanon in 1975, and unfortunately it's never been the same. So people are still kind of getting over the war that they experienced in 1975. So yeah, very sad place now, and of course ravaged by ISIS and the recent wars with Iraq and Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden and everything. It's just, it's not good. So anyway, you wouldn't necessarily travel there on purpose. So yeah, tomorrow we will finish off the notes for the week. So, but right now you're going to watch a video about the kibbutz and what it's like to live on an Israeli kibbutz. My pastor in college, he was the pastor at the college there. He actually went there after he graduated from college. He went to Israel and lived on a kibbutz, and I could totally see Luke doing that after he graduates from DCA. I can see him packing his bags and maybe transporting a horse over there or something and show him how farming is done the Luke Maxwell way. So anyway, I am excited for you guys to watch this kibbutz movie. I hope you like it, and go ahead and fill in some facts about the kibbutz as you're watching it. Bye guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow.